you just never stop. You just can't give up.
Missouri musicians, then and now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a special night. I'm sitting here with the Missouri music legend, Baub Eis.
What up?
How's it going, Bob?
It's going awesome, man. How are you?
Great. I'm so happy to talk to you. I have so many things to ask you.
I have so many questions.
do.
So many things to talk about. Well, that's excellent. I have opinions about things, so we should get along fine.
Like, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, and it turned out to be like half a page.
Right.
So it's like, I know I have more than a half a page.
Seems like
to
there's some
ask
more
you
questions
about.
I want to ask that guy. What the heck?
Yeah. Well, first things first, you are the host of the Homegrown Show on 93.5 KRMS, Sundays at 11 a.m.
Right.
I was a part of a band that was on the Homegrown Show a long time ago, and unfortunately I didn't make it here to see
what
you.
The heck?
And here I am, years later, so excited. Tell me more about the Homegrown Show. Like, it sounds so important to the mid-Missouri area.
Well, you know, it was, I've been doing this for so long now, and I don't even know how long I've been doing it. I just finished my 305th show, so I've done a bunch of those. But I've not always, I end up doing a lot of replays. Bands cancel last minute. You know how fickle bands are. It's like trying to herd cats. It's like, and so I get people cancel on me, and so bands get repeated a lot or whatever. So,
Okay.
but it's really, it's a lot of bands have come and gone, and me, I'm not very good at remembering people sometimes. And people, I was on your show. I was like, oh, hey, what's up, man? I don't really remember or whatever, but apparently people listen to the show, and so we keep doing it. I mean, 935 Rocks promotes original music. A lot of places, they don't really do original music. We give a spotlight, and the station's always been behind me, and stuff, and I kind of how I got my start. Kevin Burns. We were talking to Kevin Burns about before the show started, or whatever, and he's the one that originally started the Homegrown Show.
Oh, wow.
And so the Baub Eis Band was like the first or second band that was on his show after he got started. So we were kind of at the beginning of that. And then he did that for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or something like that. And then for whatever, he quit the station at the time or moved or something came up. So then they needed somebody else. They got a new DJ in or whatever. And then they called me and said, hey, can you help our guy get started? He doesn't know any of the bands. We know you know a lot of these bands. Can you come in and kind of, help our guy out? And so I'm like, yeah, sure. So kind of gave him some seed bands and got him started on his show and stuff. And then he ended up leaving. And so then I just contacted the station. I said, hey, I'd probably be interested in just doing that show myself.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we want you to do 3 full shows, record them, get them to us, and then we'll make a decision after that. So I did my 3, and then, the rest has kind of been history.
Did you have any previous radio experience before that?
No, not really at all. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd been interviewed. I mean, being interviewed super easy to do. Really, you just sit here and you talk and you answer questions. Giving the interview is difficult. You have to
Indeed.
You have to think of the questions. You have to keep the ball rolling. You can't, you can get dead space. Like, oh, quick, think of something funny, or how do I fill this space? So I'd been on the radio and interviewed a lot, but I hadn't ever really I've never was like a DJ, and then I guess technically I did do some DJing when I first moved to the lake, and this is a long time ago, and I did a short stint DJing at a strip bar.
Whoa.
So the old body shop out on 42. I didn't really know anybody, and
Never heard of it.
Yep. Yeah. So I did some DJing out there for a while. I guess that's really kind of my only real DJing experience was doing that and stuff. And then I just kind of, took pointers from people at the radio station and, and just tried to just kind of figure it out. Because at first, obviously, you're super apprehensive. A second of dead space seems like 10 minutes. You're just like, oh, it's like tick, 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 tick. I need to say something. Tick, tick. You start freaking out. And then once you realize that really it's a little bit of dead air, it's not that bad. You can deal with it. I mean, it's worse because I had a problem of, I always said, or but it's like, some dead airspace is okay. You're just in your mind. It's like, oh my gosh, I have dead airspace, but it's not. When you listen to it live, it's not as long as you. That moment doesn't seem as long.
Man, it takes some courage to be on a live mic or even just recording yourself, period. I've discovered in the editing process lately, my thing is absolutely. I posted on Facebook the other day, I said, I was doing some editing, I said, for all you drinkers out there, take a drink every time you hear me say absolutely during a podcast.
A drinking game. I didn't even ever think of that. I didn't even have a homegrown drinking game. I'm going to start doing that. Every time you hear this, it's tough, though, when it's Sunday morning. People aren't really up for drinking at that time of the day yet.
That's true.
Bloody Marys.
Well, the Homegrown Show, like you said, it's promoting and showcasing local music.
Right.
And this area is a hotbed of local music, whether it's cover bands, bar bands, original artists, all of the terms and the names for the artists around here. What's your opinion of the local music scene currently from the radio side of the desk?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the Lake of the Ozarks, it seems to me that now that everybody wants tribute bands. It's like we're the Poison tribute band, we're the this tribute band. There's everybody's tribute bands. It's like, but at some point we're gonna need somebody to be the new somebody that someone wants to copy. It's like we have to. Where's the bands that are actually writing these songs? Write me a good song. A good song will go a long ways, and. It just seems like to me that at least the Lake, because it used to be a lot more blues. And the Lake has obviously changed in the past 10 years as far as what they have. And there's so many places, all these water bars now, and everybody has the pools and the big things or whatever. And they're not quite as just there to see the music like they used to be. Like Backwater Jacks used to have their Sundays. They had, regional bands to come through, and back in the day, Shady Gators, Bayou Bills at the time used to get a lot of national touring bands and stuff like that were original bands, but now they don't really, that's not really out there. All it is just copy stuff, and it's kind of, it's like, I'd rather go see an original band almost any time, and there's just not that many venues at the lake, at least at the Lake of the Ozarks. You get into some bigger cities and you have some bigger clubs, and that have, because you have 3 or 4 bands play together. They'll do like a show, and there's just not that really that kind of thing here at the lake.
It seems like it is more welcoming to cover artists and tribute artists. I never really thought about the tribute part, and it's weird that you said there's not a whole lot of venues. Which is true, but it's like there's tons of venues here in this area, but where are the ones that are going to welcome the original artist and really showcase them? And I think they're few and far between.
Yeah, we started a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we started the Homegrown Music Festival.
I was going to ask you about that.
Which, we do 4 bands or whatever, and we always did that at Dog Days. The last couple of years now they get the pool, but they get the new stage. And first couple of years we did it on a trailer bed, out there, because we didn't really have a big enough place to do it. And then last couple of years they got the new stage. We started doing it there. This year was kind of a bummer because weather kind of screwed everything up, because it's like we always broadcast that whole thing live on the radio, so we have to have our sponsors lined up for who's going to be what and how many. It's like you can't, you have a live broadcast from 2 to 6. Well, the rain comes in, everything. We can't just move. We just can't move the schedule 2 hours or change it to do the live thing, because we have so many commercials have to play on such and such hours and whatever. And so there's we ended up canceling it this year. So whether we do it next year or not, I guess kind of remains to be seen. Luke Hagedorn, voice of the Camden Lakers. He did a lot when he worked at Dog Days, and he did a lot with organizing the different folks that were bringing the tastings, and because all the charity, he kind of organized all that. I did all the band and got all the people there in PA and got everybody kind of lined up and figured the show out, and then he kind of did the organization of which vendors were going to be there and just kind of all that the logistics on the back end. Which, he's not at Dog Days now, so I guess this next year, whether we do it or not, kind of still remains to be seen. Because I find it difficult to probably do it without him.
Mm-hmm.
But, we kind of talked. I mean, because him and I were the ones that started. We were just sitting around one night. We're talking, oh, man, wouldn't it be cool if we do like some features, some local bands and start doing a local show, and it's, oh, yeah. And then it just kind of grew from there. So since he left Dog Days under his own conditions or whatever. So, do we do it somewhere else? Do we do it there? Do I get somebody? At this point, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, come February, March, I guess we'll have to make a decision and figure out when we're if we're gonna do it or not. I guess I probably need to figure it out now. I guess I don't know. It's like at this point, I was just like, we played so much this summer. I was just kind of at the end of the season. I was kind of burnt out, and I was just kind of like, well, we'll see. I don't know how many times it's been the end of the season. I'm like, I'm never playing again. This is dumb. I hate this band. I hate playing all these places. And then you have a couple months off. You're just like, man, I can't wait to go play again. I'm ready to go play. So.
You kind of recharge your batteries.
You kind of recharge your batteries, yeah. That's because they do get run down, man. When it's hot and it's 110 degrees out and it's humid and you're dying, it's like people are requesting stupid songs you don't want to play, and it's like, well, you can't. I'm like, did you listen to any other songs we play? What did you think that we would? Why would you think that we would even play that song? And so, you kind of run into that stuff, and you run into burnout. I mean, we had a couple of pretty serious burnout shows this summer. They're just so hard to endure because it's so hot, and it's like some of these places it's so hard to set up and get down to where's your stage at? It's way over there, down all these steps and down all this stuff, and you're like, I've been on a bunch of shows and it's like the venue's done, it's the night's over, and like you're still carrying gear out and everybody's gone, everything's locked up. It's just you guys hauling gear up all the crazy steps to get to the Grumpy Band.
Keeps you in shape.
Yeah, body by PV.
Nice. Well, I'll get into your musical experience here in a little bit. I hope the Homegrown festival works out for you. Like, no pressure, but
no pressure.
I
know
hope it
a lot
happens.
of people like that, and it's do we pick a new venue? I mean, it's a lot of work for me.
I bet.
And I got enough stuff going on too by myself with my music and stuff. So it's just we'll just have to see. I'm not saying never again. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I don't really. It's kind of up in the air at the moment. Let's put it that way.
You're talking about Luke Hagedorn. Do you think a lot of venues aren't prioritizing live music? Like they're not designating a person to book people and stuff like that? Because it seems like it's easier to just go grab a DJ or have an open mic night or karaoke.
Well, it's, sometimes people are in a position to where they're managing and they don't really know bands, but that's their job because they're the manager, or they started. So I'm booking the band. So you're dealing with the manager. I mean, sometimes the owners do it, but a lot of times it's the managers. So, it's just a matter of, I beat them down myself. It's just like, hey, give me a gig. Hey, give me a gig. Just like, and some people are, it's November and they're setting their schedule for next summer. They know what they want and they're trying to put it together. Some people are like that. Other people are like, oh, we're opening next weekend. Oh, do you think I need a band?
No.
So we get, because the Baub Eis Band, we pick up a lot of shows that are just last minute. Like maybe we're not playing and they're like, oh man, they had somebody cancel. Oh, you guys want to play? Yeah. So we, it's, we pick up a lot of last minute stuff too.
Hey everybody, it's Jordan. I just wanted to invite you to check us out on Facebook. Like, follow, drop me a message. Let me know if there's someone you'd like to come on the show. Tell me what your favorite podcast episode was. Give me some feedback, tips, tricks, positive stuff, negative stuff. If you have a question you'd like me to ask our guest, let me know on Facebook. I just want to hear from you, so let's talk. I hope to talk to you soon. Let's talk about your band, the Baub Eis Band. Together since 98.
Yeah, something like that.
Man, I that's a long time. I can't imagine.
I'm old. I'm old. That's how do you do that for such a long time? Well, I'm old.
Yeah, and to keep
Where'd you get that worn out guitar? Well, it was new when I got it. I played it for 20 years, just so you know.
To keep an entity going for that long and to be as successful as you have been, like, it's really impressive. Who's in the Baub Eis Band?
Well, right now, it's been through the years. It kind of rotates, and I've always said it's like the Baub Eis family band because certain guys will be because it's kind of like a football team. I've got my A string and I got my B string and sometimes my C string of players because apparently I can't say no to a show, and if somebody can't make it, I'm like, oh, I'll get my B guy in.
Okay.
And I got like my A drummer. It's like he's the guy. If I got a show and it's a big show, this is my guy. But hey, can you play next weekend or last? They call me 2 days. Hey, can you play on Saturday and it's Wednesday? Hang on, let me check. A drummer. I'm busy. Okay, I got B drummer.
Wow.
And over the years, like John Marcy and Taz drummer. Those guys have been playing kind of in and out of the band for years and years. John Marcy's been playing with me for 20 years.
Wow.
Currently KP Haug, he's my bass player. He's been in the band now for 13, maybe going on 14 years. And then Joey Criffo is our new drummer, and he's only been with the band for about a year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
But he's traveled the world and played with everyone and everywhere. So it's like it's really kind of a step up getting him in the band. He played. He was a drum tech for Lou Reed for a decade, and then he toured with David Byrne from Talking Heads. He's played with all these people. I mean, he knows freaking everybody. And so, anyways, he's new with the band. He lives up in Kirksville and drives down, and we always try to get like 2 or 3 shows in a row, so it makes it worth his time to come down or whatever. And he's just amazing. His sense of timing, and he's such a great guy. He really has just kind of jumped in and filled in the gaps. But Taz, John Marcy too, those guys still here and there that I'll get a show or something and those guys will come and fill in, or Joey can't make it down, and those John and Taz both know my shows. Taz is playing with us in Nebraska here in a couple weeks. We're doing a show up there called the Turkey Tour 2022. It's my hometown, or kind of where I grew up, and we always do the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years we've done the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we go up there and then kind of hang out with the family and whatever, and so Taz will be doing that with us. But we've, and then Rich Robin, he's been with the band for a long time, on and off as a singer. He's really our blues singer. I mean, if you want to, like, hey, we really need a blues band, I'll call up Rich. Hey, we're doing a blues show, but we also do a lot of rock stuff and some heavier stuff. We open for Jackal.
Yeah.
And we can bring some heavy stuff for that. So we kind of between the rock and the blues and the jam band stuff and just heavy guitar stuff, and we just kind of go out there and just jam, really.
So it's an incredibly versatile set list and variety of music.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it just depends too. If John Marcy's there, we'll tend to do more of our original material. Mm-hmm. Joey, we're kind of trying to still get him to learn some of the original material for playing live, but we've been doing some new stuff and just we've kind of retooled. You kind of adjust what you're doing depending on which members you have available to,
What a great spot to be in, to where you just have like a variety of musicians that you can choose from to fit the needs for the band at the time. And I would imagine that contributes to the versatility of the music, and with you being so busy and successful and having the longevity that you've had.
Yeah, but it's also more like, one of my buddies from high school, Mark Munn, he was, I was a sophomore and he was a senior type of thing. And he was a drummer, and he was one of the badass drummers. And, and he, went to college and he was playing. He just told me one time, he says, well, he goes, you just got to start playing in a band. When something happens or something goes awry, then you start another band, and you just you just never stop. You just can't give up. Whatever. Well, we lost all our guys. Well, let's find some new guys. You keep going. And that's what the mentality you have to have is just, I'm just going to keep going and working hard and just, we lost our singer. There's no more singers. Well, we'll find a singer. We'll find somebody. You just got to, go out there and just keep doing it. And he's kind of been my motivation for, just, keep the band going, because we've been really, really bluesy at times, and we get more rock at times. We just kind of flux and flow about what we're doing and what the gig calls for.
And you can achieve that without just kind of rolling your eyes like, like your heart's not in it, like you're playing a style that you may not really enjoy that much. So it's like you don't ever get that feeling. Is that right?
Well, I mean, you do. I mean, because, I've toured with some other bands too. Randall Zwarte, I toured with him. Tommy Two-Tone, I did a bunch of shows with Tommy Two-Tone. And that you're just like, oh, I'm like, I feel it's like you feel stretched sometimes. You're like, because like, playing with my band and my music, I'm like, this is so much fun. I'm having a good time, But then when you play when you're not the main guy, you're just the lead guy and the backup guy or whatever, and then you're like, okay, I need to play all these songs that these other guys play, and it's like to where I'm like, okay, I got to memorize this song, or I got to take notes, or I got notes on stage so I can see what I'm doing, and just kind of the Tommy Two-Tone stuff. It's like he's got every chord in every song, if you know what I'm saying. It's like, oh, I got to memorize all this and memorize the arrangement and stop, start, and all this stuff. So you just got to kind of just go out there and do it. I mean, you get the point where, it's like, if I guess is what I've tried to avoid is if it's your job, then it feels like your job. I'm like, oh, it's my job. Oh, versus, this is something I really enjoy doing. We're not playing $50 a man shows so that we can play every night. We're playing, most everybody in my band has a day job too. We don't really, we play a lot on weekends and we play on the road and stuff, but it's kind of, if we don't play a weekend or something, it doesn't kill us. It's just something we want to do, and you just kind of have to, try to keep it fun and not, because it's so hard. I mean, playing in a band is hard. It's just like, it's hot, the hours are long. It's like you're sweating, you're going up and down the stairs. It's like, and gears breaking. You got to spend money on equipment. You're like, oh man, I got my whatever I got broke or whatever. It's like, oh, now I got to come up with more money with that. So it's a constant battle of things that you're going against, but you just have to have the attitude of, I'm just going to go in there and I'm just, first of all, you should know in advance that it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. as long as you're like, oh my gosh, it didn't go the way we planned. Well, yeah, it never goes the way you planned. Why would you even think one time that it's going to go? It's just, that's the way it goes.
Right.
Because it's funny because I'm a big Harry Potter fan. And in the one movie, they're like, well, we got to have a plan. Harry and Hermione and Ron, we got to have a plan. He's like, when has our plan ever worked? We go in there, all hell starts breaking loose, and we just wing it from there. It's like, why have a plan? I'm like, you're right. Let's just go in there. We'll just figure it out when we get there.
That would be great to apply that to being in a band for sure. That's a
nice.
There's
so many people that are just tied up in like, well, it should be like this. It should be like this.
Yeah.
Relax, man. It's not going to be like that. Just don't get mad about things. Be relaxed and just, go with the flow.
Speaking of things not going how you plan, I got a new segment called Musical Mishaps.
Okay.
Now, for somebody like you who's been playing for so long, you've got all this experience under your belt, there's had to be some times when things just went horribly, horribly wrong. And just hit me with whatever comes to mind.
Oh, do we want funny or terrible or what we did one show, and I was just talking about this the other night, and I probably I should definitely shouldn't say this because it's doesn't make me look very good, but it's really 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 funny, especially if you're not me. But we were playing at me and KP and Taz. And we were playing at the Go Fast Betty's, it used to be his bar and whatever. And it was a slow night. We're waiting to start, and nobody's really showing up, or there was something else, whatever. So we're sitting around drinking. Taz, let's do some shots. We're drinking, waiting for the, violence. Okay, so finally let's start playing. We're playing by now. We're drunk. We're really drunk. And so I'm on stage, and I like throw my hands up in the air, and I'm like, I'm the best guitar player ever. And then the strap comes off my guitar, and the guitar just goes to the floor, goes, bang, making all this noise or whatever. I'm like, trying to grab it, whatever, and making a bunch of noise.
Oh, no.
And those guys just never let me forget that. Just the one time I do something silly on stage, and then they always They never let you forget it.
But it was a slow night, so
It was a slow night. Oh yeah, nobody's. I mean, it didn't hurt anything or whatever, but just hurts when they bring it up again and again and again. Remember that one time you were the thing? The one time I'm like, well, I kind of remember. It's like, okay, so you have to deal with that,
Dang, I was gonna jump on YouTube to see if I could find that.
And it's like other times there's this is a good story. It's not a good story, but we played at the Whiskey A Go-Go in L.A.
Wow.
And it was for the 25th annual L.A. Music Awards and Randall Zwarte Band. We got Rock Artist of the Year. So we were out there for that. And so we're playing 2 songs, I think, for the show. And so, but we were playing backline. We were playing somebody else's equipment. I had my guitar, but I'm playing through somebody else's pedal board and whatever. I didn't get a sound check. Hey, you're a rock star. Get up on stage and play, And I got up there and it was just... It was horrible. I mean, it was just, I had problems with the guitar. I had problems with the sounds, with the amp being too loud. And it was just, I couldn't really control the rig because I'd never used it before. I was like, oh, what the hell, all these buttons? What do these buttons do? And it was like, it was not pretty, but, it is what it is. You talk about being nervous. Try to play at the Whiskey A Go-Go where everybody on their brothers played, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Janis Joplin, the Beatles, Frank Zappa. I mean, everybody's played there, and so here I am playing there, and I'm totally screwing it up.
I wonder if they had a similar experience. What did they expect?
This was my big mistake in reality because I had some tuning problems with my guitar, and like normally I put a new set of strings on every night, and just because I know they're fresh and they're gonna stay in tune and everything. And I'd put a fresh set on before we left, thinking, well, maybe it could, sit on the guitar and they'll kind of stretch out just a little bit, have a brand new set, but I just think flying on the plane and it's cold underneath and the strings just didn't react and they were giving me all kinds of problems, and so it just didn't work out as well as I would have liked. I mean, you're obviously harder on yourself than what other people would be hard on you, but you're just like, oh. People ask me questions and I tell them stories about things that have happened to us. So that's one that I look back on just going, why didn't you know better than that? Why didn't you think that through? But in the heat of the moment, sometimes you're not thinking. You're just like, oh, it's like, oh, there's Andy Dick, It's like, now I'm playing the guitar in front of Andy Dick. So it's like,
wow.
That's just the way it is.
Man, I'm just trying to envision like that whole scenario, and it just blows my mind. Just being in that venue and then having the pressure.
Yeah, and really, but you talk about how like the homegrown shows influenced other people and whatever their bands and stuff. Well, obviously it's helped me out a lot, and too, and that's kind of how I met Randall Zwarte. Was he came on my show? Oh, Randall, and he was big up in North Dakota and South Dakota, and Nebraska. It's kind of northern, and had moved to the lake, so. He came on my show and we're talking. I'm like, I play guitar or whatever. And so then he came to one of my shows and saw me play. And then after that, he's like, hey, you want to play in my band? And then from there we, go off and tour all over the place. So it's just,
I'm glad you dove into that because I was going to ask about that because I'm originally from Northwest Iowa, and a bunch of family up there, they would be talking about Zwarte. Like we would go visit like my dad and family and stuff. Oh yeah, Zwarte, they're awesome. Have you ever heard of them? I'm like, no, I haven't. And this was like, 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So when I saw, that was in your history and stuff, I'm like, that is so cool, And it was like the South Dakota
I'd never really heard of them, and it was just, hey, do this thing and whatever. And then we ended up, I played almost every place you can play in South Dakota or North Dakota.
Yeah.
I played Sturgis. I played up there, and
cool.
And a bunch of places. And I played one show in Fargo, North Dakota, at an arena or something there, and it was I think the most amount of ticket money someone's ever paid to see me. Like the tickets were like $38.50.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's what I said too. I'm like, people are actually going to pay to come and see us. And it's so weird with Zwarte because we would play these little farm towns, and we go there, and it's like a ghost town. I'm like, what? This is so weird. There's no one here. And then like apparently, come showtime, people would come from miles and miles and miles around. apparently they don't have any entertainment up there or something, you know. And
No.
they'd come out and see us, and it was like, oh, it's a great show, you know. And so like, okay, so I had a good time, you know. I played with Randall for about 4 years, you know, and then we'd started talking about maybe doing, you know, because we kind of split up for a while, and his health kind of got bad, and then we were talking about touring again. He wanted to do some shows. He had some shows, and started talking to me about wanting to come in and play that stuff and go back on tour. And then obviously his health went for the worse, and he ended up passing away. But you know, that's what it is. I met a lot of people, you know, like I said, I ended up getting those Tommy Two-Tone shows from playing with Randall, you know, because we did, you know, he died in March or April of 2020, and with COVID, everything was like they'd only let 10 people go to the funeral.
Oh man.
You know, he has 12 brothers and sisters.
Oh.
I mean, he has a huge family, you know. So in October of 2020, was it October? Yeah, so October of 2020, up in South Dakota, they're like, we don't care. We're gonna have a party for him, and so we went up there. And they had a big show. It was a big show up there. And they kind of had some of the old band, the original band, some of the Zwarte guys and Randall's brother, and then the newer band, and kind of all the remaining major players all came together. And we got up there about 3 days before the show, and we rehearsed for 3 or 4 days, and then did the show. And so one of the songs, Steal Away, is a Tommy Two-Tone song, and that Randall used to do. So somebody, I don't know if they paid to bring him in or what, but anyways, Tommy Two-Tone was there, and he came and did 2 songs with us. He did Steal Away, and then he did, of course, Jenny Jenny, and did those 2 songs. So it was like the Friday night of the show, and we were sound checking at the venue, and then he came down and we ran through his songs. That was the first time we'd kind of met him, was on the Friday night. And so then we all went drinking afterwards, and literally went to this place across the street or whatever. And apparently, you know, Tommy's not used to the way the Lake boys drink or whatever. And we got him a little drunk, and I ended up carrying him back to the hotel basically and pouring him into his room. And then we kind of just became friends after that, you know. And so it was just weird to develop a friendship like that. And then I had a promoter here saying, hey, put a Tommy Two-Tone show together. I'd promote it, you know. Larry Owens is like, yeah, put the show together. So he came down and I did a bunch of shows with him. So that was really unique and crazy. I call him the ghost of Randall Zwarte, you know, because it's kind of like, if it wasn't for Randall, I would have met him, you know. And then now I'm doing shows with him, which I would have never hung out with Tommy Two-Tone if it wasn't for Randall. So that was it just kind of all worked out.
Networking is key in this business.
It totally is.
So let's talk about getting gigs in this area, like for the little guys, you know, the cover artists or the original artists that are just getting started or something. You know, how do you network nowadays? How do you approach these bar owners and stuff? Like, do you use a press pack? Do you use social media? Like, how does Baub Eis do that nowadays?
How do we do that? You know, we've been playing long enough. People know who we are. So it's not, I don't have to do that much. But, you know, if you're an up-and-coming band, you definitely want to have a press kit of some sort, and any kind of newspaper clippings or any kind of media that you can show is always good. You know, decent demo. Some people do, you know, 2 or 3 songs. Some people will chop 10 songs up into one track, and here's across all the things that we can do. Some people do that. I've always found too that playing one gig usually gets you another gig. You know, somebody sees you at the show, hey, my brother's getting married, and you guys come down and play a show for him. You know, so you know, you kind of have those options. But, you know, anymore, social media is a big part of it. I'm on Facebook, and I debate constantly on, can I do a band and not be on Facebook? You know, can I? Because I get burnout on it, and it's like, can we live just off the website? You know, the schedule's always on the website. baub.com is the website. That's got our schedule on there. You know, and so it's like, you know, I get close to doing that, but it's like, it's like I got a gig. Oh, people show up. You just it's like it's just so quick to get it out there, And I think too, I know a lot of bands that are doing the pay ads, just throwing $20, throwing $100, whatever to get, because that gets it out in front of more people.
Because bands have lots and lots of money to spend on promotion.
Well, the problem is if you don't promote, then no one comes to your shows.
Yeah.
Because you get, a lot of promoters like, how many people can you guarantee me, or what you doing? Start doing that, and then it gets into I don't know how many people can I get. I think it's harder. I can get more people to come to a show in Kansas City or St. Louis than I can to the lake almost, because we play at the lake so much. I mean, we're playing every weekend somewhere. If you want to come see us, we're playing every weekend. And so it's like, okay, cause you try, is it the same band? Okay, we're getting bored. We get sick of these guys. Well, you can go to a new town. People are like, oh man, you guys are awesome. They haven't seen you 45 times, so it's kind of.
So maybe these people need to be open-minded to travel a good ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. You do and you don't. I mean, there's no tried and true way, have, really the biggest thing is, if you say you're going to call somebody back, call them back. You say you're supposed to be at a certain time, be at a certain time. So many bands are so flaky that they shoot their own selves in the foot. It's like, for the Homegrown Show, trying to get a band to come on the show, and try to get all of them and then all their work schedules and try to figure it all out. It's like, it's like, it's complicated, and so you just have to kind of, I don't know, just. Somebody's got to be in charge, and just and I having done this all these years, it's like I'll beat an owner down. I'll just keep bugging them and bugging them and bugging them until they's like, okay, fine, I'll give you a show. Okay, thanks. Because what we really try to do is I try to get 3 shows at a venue a year. So if I have 10 places and I get 3 shows a year out of them, that's 30 shows. I don't want to be there. I don't want their help to go, we know their set list. Oh, they're going to take a break because they're going to play this song next. And you don't want to get into that. You want to, that way it's like, oh, they're fresh. Oh, these guys are awesome. Yeah. And it keeps it fresh. You don't overdo it, cause, and don't get me wrong. Cause I'm a big midget wrestling fan, right? I really am. We go all the time, but it's like, midget wrestling's awesome, yeah. But if you have midget wrestling every weekend, it's not. It's like, oh, this is midget wrestling. I've seen this the last 6 weekends. I don't need to see midget wrestling again. But if you're, what I'm saying, you keep it fresh, and you don't oversaturate your market.
That's good advice. I hope people pay attention to that, because it's pretty cutthroat nowadays with trying to get paying gigs and trying to find venues, and then they have their own demands. Like you said, I remember back when I was on the scene, a lot of people wanted to charge a door charge.
Right.
And then if you wanted to get paid, you got a portion of the door.
Right.
So like, you better bring people in or you're not going to get paid.
Right.
And if you traveled a long ways or something, I mean, good luck.
Yeah. Well, and now too, with fuel so expensive, that makes it even harder just to, to get to Nebraska or, someplace else, Kansas, St. Louis. It's just, man, the fuel prices are so high. It makes it so hard. I mean, you're back to doing it because you love the music, because you're not going to make money because the expenses are so high. But it's like, it's such a release, to go out and actually play in front of people live. Because some people want to be, I want to play every Friday somewhere. I want to play every Friday. It's like, hey, this is the same guy that was there last week. Whether they're good or not, it can be great, but it's still like, it's like, well, it's just still the same show I saw. It's still midget wrestling. I need to, I need to see something else.
If I get this on YouTube, I'm gonna have to do some sort of a thumbnail with midget wrestling.
Midget wrestling.
And Baub Eis.
Extreme midget wrestling. That's our favorite. We have our favorite wrestlers.
That's great.
Pinky Shortcake, she's my favorite.
So all of these local bands that you've seen over the years, I know you said some have repeated, some you don't remember, which is totally fine, understandable. Has anybody really stuck out to you? Like, who's your favorite? Who's a local band who kind of blew up maybe after being on your show?
Well,
Tell me about that.
I love the Many Color Death.
Okay,
They're
I've
from,
heard of them.
They're from Columbia, and they're phenomenal. They played 2 years ago. They played the Homegrown Music Festival, and then they've been on the show a bunch of times too, and they are just spectacular. I love listening to those guys. They're such a good band. Girl drummer, and she rocks it. And that's one of my favorites. I'll tell you a funny story. So I was at this bar, and I was talking to this girl that I kind of like this girl, and I like oh, she's hey, I'm gonna go talk to her, so I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm trying to be smooth, Mr. Smooth Talker, and so I'm sitting there talking, and I'm kind of looking over, and there's this guy standing there, and I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, are you Baub Eis? I go, yeah. He was like, well, he goes, my band was on your show, and we ended up getting signed because we were on your show.
Wow.
And he was all stoked to talk to me, and I'm just like trying to talk to this girl, okay. So I'm sitting there talking. So finally I get this guy to go away. And he's really excited. Hey, come over here, it's Baub Eis. I'm like, no, it's like, dude, I'm just trying to talk to this girl, And so then anyways, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, we ended up going down to the strip, down, and we went down, had a couple drinks in the strip together or whatever, and left one of the cars there. And so then we came back because we had to get the car or whatever. So we're back in the bar. And so I see this guy again, right? And so he's over talking to some girl, and he's like he's sitting at the bar, and he's like really making some moves on this girl, whatever. So I walk over and basically get right between them. I'm like, hey man, how's it going? What's up? And he's like, dude, I'm trying to hit this girl. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh,
doing it on purpose. So I don't know.
Baub Eis, the C blocker.
I had another time that something really similar happened. That was a pretty good story. We played this, and this was a long time ago, and we played at a marina, and it was like a marina party or something. We were set up, and there was the marina's owner's grandson was there, and he had a bicycle, and he kept riding in front of the band. So he was like okay, whatever. And so he ends up leaving his bike right in front of where we were playing. And so I'm like ripping on this guitar solo. I'm like, I'm gonna try to ride that bike. And so I'm like, it's right there. I'm like, oh, so I try to get on the bike and ride and play or whatever. And I get on a foot and a half, maybe tops. And I totally wipe out.
Oh no.
So I pop up, and I grab the bicycle, and I start playing guitar with the bicycle, using it to play, play the bicycle, whatever. Right. So the kid ended up having the whole band sign his bicycle. So we signed his bicycle and stuff, and then that's all good. So now flash forward, I don't know. It seems like it was several years. I don't know. It was quite a bit of time later, and I was at Mexicali Blues, and I was talking to this girl, and I'm sitting there talking, and I kind of look over, and there's these kids standing there, and I'm just keep talking to this girl, and I look over, and they're not going anywhere, I'm like, hey guys, can I help you? And they're like, were you that guy that played guitar with the kid's bicycle at that marina? And I was like, I go, yeah. And every one of them had a napkin and a pen.
Aww.
And they wanted my autograph. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So it's
scored you some points with the lady.
Scored me some points with the girl, yeah. But it was just, it's just weird stuff like that
that's so funny.
Comes around or whatever, yeah.
All from just silly shenanigans.
Silly shenanigans, yeah. Because, and this is, I think, what we know and other bands need to learn is that, you're an entertainer. You're there to make people laugh and smile, and maybe you look dumb doing something. If people laugh about it, that's more important than kind of anything else. It's there's so many musicians that are just amazing. They can do all this stuff, but they're just so boring. There's no show. They just stand there. They look at their guitar. They don't do anything. It's you gotta jump around and do something. You gotta, and a big example is Dale Blue. I don't want to say anything he'll agree with me. He's not a great musician, but he's an amazing entertainer. You know, I mean, he has a show and he's got people lined up around the block to come and see him. He goes to all these places want Dale Blue to play. He's not that good a musician, but he's an amazing entertainer. And so a lot of these bands, I think they need to learn the entertainment business. I need to make these people laugh. I need to have some jokes. I need to have, we just can't stand it. Somebody, no dead airspace. Somebody say something, and make fun of the bass player. You make fun of do something. You just got to, kill some time and be entertaining. Sometimes somebody breaks a string. Well, what are you going to do? Well, somebody's going to have to tell a joke. You guys got any jokes? I mean, it's write them down. It's have some jokes written down and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Hey, where's your joke sheets? Oh yeah, here's my jokes, and be able to, have something to fill with and entertain people.
It seems like a lot of people view bands as just background music. And maybe they're not being entertaining. They're playing great music, but they're just not being entertaining.
Right. They don't have a show. You gotta have a show.
Don't forget to check out our website at www.momusicianspodcast.com, where you can find news, blog posts, videos, and full-length episodes. Now let's get back to the conversation. We talked about your musical mishaps.
Right.
I want to hear about some of your gigs that just blew you away, like something that when you're like 80 years old, you're going to be thinking about these times.
Well, last year, or I guess last hockey season, we played for the St. Louis Blues. And we played 2 shows at the arena there, and that was pretty dang cool. I mean, because we were on ESPN, because the big jumbotron or whatever, it's called Ava. They get mad at me if I call it a jumbotron. But Ava, the audio visual assistant or something, the big TVs underneath the, in the middle of the ice or whatever. And so we're playing and you can like see us up there and stuff. And it was pretty awesome. I guess, that was a big show. I played in Holland in 2018. That was a pretty cool show. I played in Rotterdam. But I played in Mexico. We went down and did some shows in Mexico. That was kind of a good time. I'd never really been to Mexico before, so it's fun to go down there and play a couple shows. I had issues. Seems like I couldn't drink enough down there. It was really an issue. I had an issue because, we drink all day, but it's just so hot, and it's like you can't really.
You just sweat it all out.
Just sweat it all out, yeah. And it's like I was like, okay, and we're down there for a few days, and because we got there on Tuesday, we played on Wednesday, we played on Friday, and then we flew out on Saturday, and I was just like, I just can't. It's like I turned around to grab my beer, and it was hot. Everything I would drink was like, I can't get a drink. You're playing, you can't. Every couple of songs, maybe you can take a drink. You can't. It's not like there's not much dead time in the show. They're not, stand around, take a drink. No, it's like you got to kind of be going. I finally get a chance, and it's like a hot beer. It's like, this is terrible.
Yikes.
So finally, the last day we were there, and I started drinking mojitos. And mojitos, like they could kind of melt, and I could still drink them there. So I kind of started getting going good there. And then there were some people there from St. Louis that were friends of a mutual friend of mine, and she had sent them there to see us and stuff, and they were all, buying tequila. Oh. So I was like, okay, now I'm getting things going, right? So, we had a good show, and it's really got a good buzz going on, and now it's like, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Most everything's shut down, and we end up in a Mexican karaoke bar at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was sing song. I'll sing a song, whatever. And I got up and sang "Soul Man," from the Blues Brothers, and literally had the entire place up on their feet dancing. And I was dancing around. I was like the dancing Homer. I'm a soul man, I'm a soul man. It's like, and it literally rocked this place, and I'm like, thank you. No encore. They're like, you want to sing some more? I'm like, no, I can't top that. And it was just. It's fun. It's fun when you're, some of the things you do when you're out on the road, especially getting to see, different cultures and different food and different things. It's always kind of exciting.
So you said you were on Facebook.
Yep.
You got a little bit of YouTube stuff going too, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't do too much on there, but I probably really need to. I got some. I got one of the shows where we played the blues that it's on there, and I got another show that we played the second time we played the blues, but I haven't got it on there yet. I need to get it posted.
And you got Baub.com, BAUB.
BAUB.com, yep.
And it's got your schedule on there.
Yep. And then, of course, our band van has its own Twitter account. It's at Grumpy Band Van.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, he didn't post too much, but he'd be like, yeah, maybe this year the band's going to wash the van. Wah, wah, wah. Nope, I don't think so. Just, we do silly stuff or whatever, but it's kind of funny that it's got its own.
So much fun. Well, do you have like some upcoming gigs off the top of your head you want to rattle off?
Just we've got Thanksgiving. We're in Nebraska, and then after that, it's pretty mellow after the first of the year, and then we start booking stuff for next year.
Awesome.
So it's anymore. It's like the wintertime. It's like we kind of it's nice to take some time off. I mean, in summertime we play so much and it's so hot and miserable, and it's like it'd be nice to just kind of stay at home,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, recharge those batteries so you can do it all over again.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, I think we got it. I appreciate you having me out. I love your place. It just oozes creativity.
Thanks.
Everybody check out the Homegrown Show, 93.5.
Sundays at 11.
And you can stream that online, correct?
935rocksthelake.com.
There you go for all you out-of-towners.
And in all reality, there's a 935 Rocks app. You get on the Google Play and the app and the Apple stores, and it's like an app that streams the radio station too. So you can, like, if you got Bluetooth speaker or whatever, you can just get the app on your phone and listen to it that way.
There you have it. Everybody check out the Baub Eis Band. Thanks for your time, my friend.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Take care.
All right.